Thank you all for being here today for the first session of the School Budgeting Masterclass led by Lisa Epstein. So as you can see on the screen, if you haven't gotten the chance yet to just please change your Zoom name, that will help us greatly throughout the session. So my name is Amir Ghazali. I work at the Chicago Public Education Fund on our educator supports team, and have designed this masterclass series in collaboration with 3 experienced PLC leaders that have worked with the fund in the past. So before we get kicked off with the exciting budgeting content of the session, I just wanted to give a very brief overview of the masterclass series and kind of why we're doing it. So this is a new pilot that the fund is rolling out for this school year, and as you can see on the screen, we really designed this to provide principals and APs with key learnings and practices, but in a more scaled, lower intense PD way. So many of you might be familiar with our professional learning communities. And this year we're going to be serving over 250 principals and APs through those. But we also want to recognize that PLCs are high intensity, right? You're meeting at least once a month, anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes with pre and post work. So we wanted to create more of a lower intense PD opportunity that still will provide school leaders and educators like yourselves with key resources, learnings, and best practices. So we're going to be leading it with 3 principals this year. So you're currently sitting in with Lisa Epstein on the first session of her masterclass series. Barton Dassinger is leading one on grading for equity. And then Fernando Kim is going to be leading one on school leader time management. And then also, the fund is now a CPDU accredited provider. So for attending today, there's going to be an exit slip that Alexis, also from the fund, is going to be putting in the chat towards the end of the session. And if you fill that out, you will receive a credit. And then also, Lisa will be available for office hours to get more direct support as it relates to budgeting. And we are going to be providing more information around that towards the end of the session. So with that, I want to kick it to Lisa. We are so happy that she's here, and go ahead, Lisa.
Thanks, Amir. Good morning, everybody. I'm super happy to be here with you today. To begin your adventure with budget. I don't know how many of you have any experience with budget. I would just kind of like to give this blurb though before we get started. If any of you are really familiar with budget, I don't want to waste your time this morning because it will be very basic this morning. If you are not familiar with budget, you're just getting started with budget, obviously happily stay on. So just to tell you a little bit about myself and how I learned this budget. I am now in my 29th year at CPS, my 12th year as principal, and about my 5th or 6th year, I was asked to come to central office and manage a $117 million grant, and I had no budget experience. So very quickly, I learned budget because if I didn't learn budget, I wouldn't have my job any longer. So they trusted me with $117 million and made sure that I was I guess, supporting schools across the district. I guess I did an okay job because 29 years later, they keep tapping on my shoulder to help with budget. I do want to say I'm definitely not the expert, but I definitely hope that I am able to help you. I think one of the things that I would say to you is through the beginning of your principalship, residency, and or assistant principalship, it's all about collaboration and leaning on those in the district that you can depend on. So I'm really happy to be joined this morning with 2 of my colleagues who were former Con Fellows with me in 2017, Dr. Lauren Albany and Dr. Macklin King. So they will be supporting this session in your learning as well this morning. So I just want to make sure that they are recognized before we begin. So last night, Amir sent you a packet. You will need that packet to help you throughout this session as it's going to be interactive. And Lauren and or Mac are going to be randomly calling on participants to be able to respond to an interactive game for the first half of the session to start to learn about some of the budget. But just before we get started, if you can just kind of glance at those norms. So we wanted to really begin and end on time, be present and engaged, assume positive intent, and contribute equally and discuss not necessarily concerns candidly, but any questions that you have around budget. Amir, can you go ahead? I see people are asking if you can link that packet back in the chat box before we get started.
Yeah, Alexis will drop that in shortly. Thanks for flagging.
Okay. And so again, in this next hour, we hope that you'll understand where the CPS budget is housed, and specifically to develop a better understanding of budget lines, terms, numbers, and descriptions as we go on. So we are going to get started with our little morning game. We'll start with an easy one. What system, or what is the system called that houses your CPS budget? Again, Lauren is going to randomly call on a participant to unmute and respond, and then we will discuss your response.
So, hi guys. I'm going to call on my AP because she's on here, and I'm going to call her out on this one. Kelly Witters. Hi. Enterprise Financial Services.
Okay, Cal, otherwise known as what else? It has a nickname. What else might you call it?
I don't know, Lauren, you got to help me out on that one.
Oh,
I see it in the chat. Thanks, guys.
Yes, Oracle. So the system that houses our budget is Oracle. Thanks, Cal. Go ahead, Amir. What day of the school year determines your budget for the following school year?
Let's go with Kimberly Gibson.
20th day of school.
Good job, Kim. The 20th day. So for those of you that are just getting started and you have some kids that still haven't shown up, it's really, really important that you make sure that you're in contact with every one of those children to get those children in, because they will not increase your budget unless you have X amount of kids after the 20th day. So just think about that. That 20th day is going to determine how you plan for your following school year. What fund account is aligned to internal accounts?
Let's do Michelle Nash.
I think it's 114, right?
So I'm going to give you a, no, not correct, but it's okay, Michelle, we love you anyways. I'm going to give Lauren one more chance to pull on one other person to see if they know what that.
Do Monique Whittington.
Hi, is it 115?
Nope.
Nope.
And okay. I saw someone in the chat box actually put 124. So 124 is where the fund number that all of your internal accounts are aligned to. What account number would you use if you want to purchase educational software such as IXL, Nearpod, Achieve 3000 as examples?
Terry Kelly.
Hi, Lauren.
How are you?
Good. That should be 115, right? Student, isn't that
Nope.
115?
Nope. So I'm gonna have you reference those packets if you have them. It's an account number. So the 115 that you just referenced is referred to as a fund number. So you want to look for an account number that's aligned to purchasing educational software.
Okay. Hold on.
All right, let's try Connie.
Connie, are you with us?
Yes, I am here. Sorry.
It's okay.
Someone was just talking to me about lunch recess, so I missed that. I'm pulling it up right now. Circle back to me. I'll be ready.
Okay. So for time's sake, I do see a couple of people putting it. I saw Miss Brown, Katina Brown, pop it in the chat box. So the account number that's attached to personal educational software is 53307. So anytime you're purchasing software, you would need to use that account number. How many numbers make up a school budget identification number?
Let's go with Lauren Rojas from Chopin.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Unfortunately, I don't know the answer.
That's
Do
okay.
you know your school budget number?
No idea.
I mean, do you know your school unit number?
No idea.
Okay,
I'm new, by the way.
it's okay. It's okay.
Megan Fido from Rudolph.
Five.
Correct, 5. So every school has a specific number that is attached to your unit, and that's how they track funds and track everything that we do. So it's usually the very first 5 numbers of a budget line is the unit number that is attached to your school. What is your school unit identification number, and where is the school unit identification number located on the budget line? So I just gave you half, but if you all can just go ahead in the chat box and type in your 5-digit budget number or unit number that belongs to your school. Great, I see a bunch coming up. So again, it's that's my unit number, but it's the first numbers on a budget line, the first 5 numbers on a budget line. So federal law prohibits recipients of federal funds from replacing state, local, or agency funds with federal funds. This would be considered what?
John Murphy from Uplift.
Illegal. I don't know. I don't know what the actual term is, but definitely not a legal thing. Supplanting, according to the chat.
The chat would be correct. They're helping you out. See, we always help each other out. It's supplanting. So you can't, replace those monies because you would be considered supplanting. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. What is Fund 115?
Let's do DeWanda Fountain. No, not here. All right, Gail Neely from Ray.
I'm sorry, school-based budgeting.
Thank you very much, Wanda. School-based
General
budgeting is correct.
Education Fund, and it's general education fund.
Correct. Under programs, there are 4 programs used for professional development. Identify the 4 program numbers and explain the difference between them. So I'm going to give you a minute to glance at that packet that should be in front of you, just so you can respond to that.
Lisa, I'm not even sure I know the answer to that off the top of my head, so.
That's what I said. So I said glance at the packet.
Nikita from How.
I am searching the packet right now. Oh, so I see. So you have professional development 221234.
Correct.
Reading professional development 221235. Math is 36. Science is 37.
Good job. So when you were explaining that to me, what do you see to be the difference between the 3?
The content area.
Yes. So just to be really clear, so the budget is tracked by content area only in math, literacy, and science. So if it's not related to math, literacy, or science, and you're doing professional development, you would use 221234. If it's linked to any 3 of those contents, then you have to use that program number that's attached to that specific content area. What grant numbers stay the same from year to year, and what fund is it aligned to? What grant number, sorry, stays the same, and what fund is it aligned to?
Charlie Bright.
I have no idea. I'm trying to look it up now. That's not the 00575, is it?
It is, Charlie.
That's the only number I know.
It is, it is. And do you know what fund number that grant is attached to?
The only number I know. No, I could use help. I
Okay.
like mine.
Well, you were really spot on the grant. So that 000575 never changes, and it is attached to Fund 115, which is school-based budgeting.
See, I knew that. See, I should have just took that guess.
Good job on your first half guess. What fund number can be used for anything instructional, capital improvements, security, food, etc.?
Craig from Nixon.
115.
You said 115. Can you explain why you think that's the correct answer?
Can I phone a friend?
Sure. Do you have one online?
115 can be.
Go ahead, Diana. I saw you on mute. If you want to go ahead and try to explain, that's okay.
115 funds are flexible for use, so.
SBB.
Yeah.
SBB. And so I think the key word there is capital improvement, security. So you can do things beyond instructional purposes with 115, as long as it supports all children within your building. What is Fund 332?
Nicole Williams.
Fund 332 is ESSA fund.
You are correct. Do you know what ESSA stands for?
Yes, I can read it. It says every student succeeds at.
Correct. Good job. 6 teachers from your school would like to attend a literacy conference. What account number and program number would you use?
Let's do Pedro.
I would do 115 and then 221235.
So the 223 or the 221235 is absolutely correct because it's aligned to literacy. The first number that you listed was a fund. So could you tell me the account number that you would attach to that?
I'm sorry. The account would be 54125.
That's more of a consultant, but you're getting close. You're close. You're somewhere around the right page. You want me to give you the answer?
Give me a second. I'm sorry, here we go. 54505.
Correct. And can you tell us what the verbiage is that's aligned to what you just found?
Sure. Seminars, fees, subscriptions, and professional memberships.
Exactly. So that account number is always a 5-digit number, and that program digit is always a 6-digit number. And so it does have to attach specifically to what the purpose is for the money, especially if you were to get audited. What grant numbers change from year to year?
Marie from Albany Park.
The grant numbers that change from year to year are those anything but 575, 576. Right now it's the COVID funds. So the grant last
Hi Marie.
4-3 something.
You're getting there. So you're on the right path. So those COVID funds, the ESSA funds, special ed funds, etc. Almost all of everything except for 115, the grant number changes at the beginning of each year because it's federally funded and it's tracked in a different way.
Already it's K-2.
Dewana, I think you're unmuted in case you want to mute. Your school decides to run a Saturday program. 7 teachers will work the program. What account and program number are associated with Saturday school?
Dr. King, you want to take the baton and start calling on people?
Absolutely. I am going to call on Kahinde.
Hindi.
You were gonna do it, Dr. King.
Welcome.
Okay, so I'm new to this. So, hello, everybody. The account number 51130.
Good job, Kahindi.
Well, look at that. Okay.
There you go.
What about the program number? What program
let's
number
see.
connected to?
Okay, now that's another program number. The instructional. No.
We'll help you out, my friend.
Yeah, please tell me. Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, you can phone me. I will be your friend again.
Lisa, phone me in.
So it's nice to see a lot of you because I know a lot of you on here. So it's great to see you in new roles and or continuing on. But it's 320020, which is other after school programs, which allows you to do things on a Saturday. Good job, Will. I saw you, or Bill. I saw you stick that in there.
Oh, I didn't make it to that page. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Write a budget line on your own and describe the budget. What is it and how can it be used to support your school? So in that packet that I gave you, we put a budget line on there. So I want you to take a stab and write your own budget, and Mac's going to call on somebody so that they can describe their budget and tell us what they wrote.
Okay, I think, Lisa, I'm going to head to the northwest side of Chicago. I think it is, to Sarah and Marquise Butler.
Oh, I haven't even, I just wrote down the school number. So I would need a little bit more time on that one.
Okay, while he's thinking, that's okay. I'll go to, let's see, Kimberly Gibson. Are you warmed up, Kimberly?
I'm getting there. I'll take a shot at it.
Go ahead.
My school ID 22031-115. I'm gonna order office supplies, copy paper from 53405. Program is where I'm stuck at.
So if you were ordering the supplies and you wanted them to be attached to something specific, so look at those programs and attach those supplies to something.
Okay. Let me get a shot. What if I say 119016 to be math instruction? The grant number is going to be 0000575 in the year 2023.
Good job. You did great. You did great. That's exactly right. So in this case, I used my my own budget, but mine was a little different. So mine was to purchase books. And I actually typed the wrong grant number there, by the way, now that I see it. It should have been 119016 instead of 36. But that's exactly right. You were correct. So a principal decides to send teachers, it should say teachers, to McCormick Place for a national education conference. The teacher purchases a hotel room at the Hyatt McCormick Place to attend the conference and enters a reimbursement in SOW. The principal declines the transaction. Why?
Let's go to Carrie Cole.
Dr. King, you're killing me.
I saw you. I was like, I'm going to Carrie.
I got a lot going on in this office right now. So in the state, let's see, they entered it in statement of work.
So they were going to go to a conference and they in the city, and they were going to go to McCormick Place, and they purchased a hotel room and they entered it into SOW for a reimbursement, but you decline it. Why do you decline that transaction?
Well, I decline it because they live in the city.
You are spot on there. So go ahead, Amir. CPS prohibits employees from receiving hotel reimbursement for accommodations within the city of Chicago. So you can't get reimbursed and or stay at a hotel or use any CPS funds to stay inside of the city limits for a conference, professional development, or a retreat, or any of the aboves. If you were out of the city, one street over, you would be fine, but within city limits, it's an illegal transaction.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
This is Kimberly Gibson again. I actually have a conference coming up in Houston, and CPS is paying for the hotels. What fund do we cover our airlines from?
So, great question, first of all. So let me give you a couple things. You have to go into the Oracle system under travel, and you have to enter your travel and get approval through there with your budget lines and all of that. If you need support afterwards, I'm more than happy to help you. But it depends what the conference is for. And so 115, depending on, is always one that you can use, but depending on what the conference is for. So if it's for literacy, you want to use that program 221235. If it's not for literacy, math, or science, you would use 221234. It really depends on what the conference is for, but I am available to help you after or during office hours if you need that support, Kim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lisa, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was looking for the program 119010. Is that still a program to use or no?
Wait, say that one more time, Pat.
Program 119010. I'm saying it wrong.
010 other instructional.
Yeah, I don't see it listed here. Is that?
It might have just been something that I accidentally deleted or forgot to put on there, but it is a program. So it is attached to other instructional programs. Don't ask me how I know this all by heart, but I do. So
I knew you would.
Name and order the 6 items that need to be included on a budget line.
Let's go to Charlie Bright.
Hold on, I'm cleaning my glasses. All right, what the 6 items that need to be included on the budget line? We need the unit number, the fund, account number, the program number. What else? We got the grant and then the year.
There you go.
Good job. Good job. What is this budget line and what can it be used for? So in specific, obviously that's my unit number, but what is that fund, account, program, and grant number?
Okay, you want them to interpret that budget line. Let's go to C. Shelton 5.
And let me add to that though. What is that budget line and what can it be used for? So that's a specific as well.
Okay, C. Shelton, she ramped up the rigor, so.
Of course, I knew it would be me, Lisa. I'm gonna have to take a pause. I just joined and I don't have my packet ready.
Okay, I'll go to Diana Gomez Rodriguez.
Okay, that is to purchase furniture that is the cost of more than $500 for reading purposes.
Great job. Fantastic. That's exactly it. So anytime you use that 55005, it's purchase furniture or equipment over $500. In this case, it's specifically to support literacy. There is a new account number within CPS budget that also is attached to furniture now, and it's in your packet. And it does differ a little bit. So you may get into Oracle and you may put something in and it may get rejected under this 55005. Then I would say to you to try that other line that is attached specifically to furniture, because usually one of those 2 lines will work with furniture. So I'd use this one more now for equipment when you're thinking about technology, smart boards, or anything that's over $500. A school budget is determined based on the projected what?
All right, let's go to Albany Park, Marie Garza.
The school budget is determined based on the projected enrollment from the 20th day.
Very good. Good job.
Can you go back to the furniture and equipment? What's the other account number for, I'm not sorry. So property and equipment, or you said use the furniture one if it, what do we use if it's property under 500?
Usually it's a supply line 53405. Usually anything under that, I would say, is usually would fall under that 53405, which is a supply.
Okay, because sometimes like a chair is under $500.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, anytime you think that, like exactly that, a chair, it might be from Office Depot, you probably could use that 53405. It gets a little, the system gets a little tricky when you put certain purchase orders in. But just think of those common ones, that 53405 or that 5505, or the other one that's aligned specifically to furniture, these, which is new as of like a year and a half ago.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Lisa, I'm sorry that I'm glad we're talking about this. I apologize for interrupting. I've been trying to order carpets, rugs, and it keeps getting rejected.
What account number are you using?
I bet it's because I'm using 53405, right? Because the rug is over $500.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It also, so just so you guys know, if you are you going to the marketplace?
Yeah.
So sometimes to the marketplace, School Specialty and Lakeshore are known to do this. If they code it differently, it's going to get rejected. So they have a code that they code it, whether it's whatever it is. And if you don't match up to that code, then it'll get rejected. So you may have to call them and ask how they have it coded. Because even if it's some things over 500, they don't have it coded as property and equipment for whatever reason.
Okay, great.
26331-332-53305-119-017. And I wrote myself an ad, and I obviously didn't correct the slide, so I apologize before I get here. I was going to put the grant number on. Describe this budget line. Is this an allowable budget line? What can you not do with this budget line? And can you make the purchase for the entire school using this budget line?
Okay, I think Megan Clendening is ready for this question. Megan?
So I know that with 332, it's instructional only. And then, oops, sorry, my radio is going. And it's in non-digital instructional materials. And then 119071. I don't see 119071 on here.
So I'll help you out. It's science, and you were correct. It's non-digital materials, which generally speaking are textbooks or supplemental books.
Okay.
And 332 would be what fund?
The ESSA fund?
Yep, and you did say it's instructional purposes only. So I guess my one question to you is, if I were to say to you, I think it says on here, can you make the purchase for an entire school using this line or an entire classroom? So if you were going to purchase science books for one of your classrooms, could you use this budget line?
It would depend on the cost, correct?
No. So I'm going to help. We remember we were talking about supplanting before. So you can actually only use ESSA money for instructional purposes to support the purchase of a few textbooks. So you can never buy for a whole classroom or a whole school. It's basically replacing lost textbooks. If you needed to buy a full classroom, you would use 115. If you needed to buy a full school, it would be 115 or some additional, funds that are raised outside of the school through some fundraising. But for this, that supplanting is where it comes in. So you can only replace or purchase minimal items without it becoming supplanting.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. In order to reduce a class size in high school, what program number would you use?
Okay, I know this is a high school question, but I'm going to Ebinger. Michelle Nash.
Hold on.
11346 says reduce class size for high school.
Good job, Michelle. That is correct. So that's reduced class size for a high school. What can this budget line be used for?
Sarah Roche.
folks. I just joined and I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. So I passed. I passed to Ana Torres Romero.
All right, Anna. Anna, are you there?
Yes, I am. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Okay, so it is ESSA, teacher salaries, right? 5, okay. And it is 2, 2, 3, 4. It says professional curriculum and development, so they're attending professional development teachers.
You're super, super close. So that account number 51500, can you go back and look and see what that one is?
Substitutes. I'm helping.
Yes, whoever helped you out. Oh, good job, Sarah. So Sarah was helping you out. So that budget line would be to support a substitute to attend, for a teacher to attend professional development and anything other than literacy, math, and or science.
Anything other. Okay.
Yes. So the program would change for math, literacy, and or science.
Lisa, can you go back to that one?
Yes.
And I don't see that grant number from the last slide. I don't see 430282.
So it should be, it's probably not in your packet because that's the grant number that changes year after year. But if you were looking at your actual budget right now, that budget, that grant number would be aligned to this year's and what used to be called NCLB, but ESSA funds. So in your personal grants, in your personal budgets now, that's the updated grant number for this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In order to provide a substitute for teachers to attend professional development for math, what fund or funds, account, program, and grants should be used?
Okay, Yalil Nieves.
Okay, give me a second. It's gonna take me a minute.
Okay, think time.
Yeah. I may need someone to help me with this one. It's taking me a little long too.
Okay, Terry Kelly, can you help out?
I know I need a little more time.
Okay, what about Regina Latimer? I see
math is actually math is
1-1-2-3-6.
Is that a 119? Isn't it 119-016?
That is one number. Yes, that is the number.
That's like the math instruction, but it's for substitute teachers.
Yes.
So that matters.
I'm assuming it's 54505. No, hold on.
Didn't we just use that number? Like,
no, I don't think
the last one we used for substitutes, the 51500.
Correct,
Yeah.
Michelle. So,
Yeah.
yep. So you guys are spot on right now for the count. So the count is 51500, and you said the program number is 119-016, which would be correct. You could also use the 221-236, which is for professional development. And again, I have a typo in there, so just I will fix it before the PowerPoint gets sent to you. But the fund numbers, you could either use SBB, which is 115, or the ESSA. And in terms of the grants, it would be that 0005 or that 430282. During back to school professional development, the principal purchases food using account 53205 because he or she wanted to make his teachers feel welcomed. If this is an allowable expenditure? Why or why not? And is approval needed beyond the school principal?
M. Costilla.
I have the answer.
Okay.
I want to feel smart.
You are smart. You're a principal.
So it's not allowable because we can only purchase food when there's professional development. Is that right?
Well, this would be for professional development, just
Oh.
say it's comparing back to school. So I'm gonna go with, you said it would be allowable, and I would agree with you on this one. I'm gonna give a little response. I'm gonna have Lauren give a little bit more. But I guess my one question I want to ask you is, and Amir put the answer up, but would it be approved? What is can you just do it, or do you have to get it approved ahead of time via your chief?
I don't get it approved.
I have the answer. I know the answer.
Go
'cause
ahead.
I do it all the time. Yes, it is an allowable expense if you want to purchase food during the professional development. You have to get it approved by your chief, and you have to fill out a form and include the agenda.
Correct. And there's a certain amount that you can spend depending on the amount of hours. So
Correct.
for 2 hours, it's less money. For half a day, it's a little bit more. And for a full day, it's a little bit more that you're allowed to spend per person, per the number of hours during the professional development. Where's the form? That's a great question. So the form, Lauren, do you have an answer to where you find that form? By any chance?
I just have it, just because I've had it for years, but I can, I'll link it in the chat.
Thank you.
Give me a second.
Go ahead, Amir. You're good.
I'm sorry. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm not sure. Is it a typo on the packet then? Because it says that food cannot be purchased for staff and students, can be used for parents.
It is definitely a typo on the packet, and I apologize. That would have been,
Okay.
that is a new rule post, well, I don't want to say post-COVID because we're still in the middle of COVID, but it is a new rule as of last year. They reinstated the expenditure. So I always used to say no to that. And I'm sorry, I did not update the packet. I forgot. But as of last year, the middle of the year, and the process is you have to get it approved via your chief prior to being able to use those dollars to support professional development.
Thank you.
Yep.
Lisa, can I ask one quick question?
Absolutely.
Is that the only account that you can use that for? For teachers?
For teachers. You know, Bill, that's a great question. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. So let me write that down and double check that before I answer you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. What does SBB and ESSA stand for, and what fund can only be used for instructional purposes?
Okay, I am going to go back to Regina Latimer.
Hi guys, so I'm here. I'm just triple tasking right now, but I'm listening. So I'm going to ask you guys to come back to me. Thank you.
Okay, I will go to Hal Nikita Horn.
Yes, so SBB is school-based budget, and ESSA is Every Student Succeeds Act. What fund can be used for instructional purposes only? The fund is, I hope this is right, is it 115?
Actually, it's the opposite. So ESSA 332 is the only one that can be used for instructional purposes. So SBB is the one where you could do capital improvements, security, and any other thing that you might do. But you did a good job anyways.
Okay.
A teacher is teaching a language arts unit and is missing supplies to support student learning. What fund or funds, account, and program would be used for such a purchase?
Okay, let's try Morgan Mudron. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Hey, it's Mudron, but close enough.
Okay.
All right, so 115. Supplies, language arts. 53405. And 119015.
Okay. I'm gonna have Amir stick those answers up there because there's a few funds that you could use. So you can really use 115, 124, 220, 332. The supplies and materials was correct. And then 119035 for literacy would be the program for such a purchase. What fund, program, and grant numbers are used to foster a closer relationship between parents and teachers? The relationship should result in higher academic achievement that supports student learning.
Okay, Maricela Torres at Gonzalez.
I think the fund is 332. And then program. Program 30008. I don't know if that was all the zeros, but I'm thinking that's the program number. And then the grant number would be 43020, or no, I don't know if it's the 430201 or the 430210.
So depending on what the packet said, okay, I'm gonna have Mir put the answer on there, but I'll just explain this really quick. It is 332. And there's a typo again, and I swear I've had an emergency at school today, so I didn't get to go back through this situation. So I see all you doing other things too, and I'm just hoping that the building hasn't burnt down yet. But it's 390030, which is attached to parents and parent learning. And then that grant number, as I said earlier, changes from year to year. So in your budget now, whatever that grant number is that is aligned to 332, there's a grant number for your teaching staff, and there's a grant number that's specific to the parents. And so you'll see that within your own budget. And I believe this year is 430290 for parents. What fund and program supports STLS students?
Okay, Nicole Williams.
I cannot answer that because I was answering my ISL. So I'm going to be honest. It's okay. She didn't mean to ask me a question while you were asking me a question.
That's okay. I will then go to, let's see, Marquise Butler. Sarah, Language Academy.
All right. I'm gonna say this is for STLS students. I saw that, and the program is going to be, I just saw it. Oh, I'm gonna find it, and I'm not gonna look in the chat because I saw it move. That means somebody was quicker than me.
Yeah.
All right. The program is 111069, and then the fund can be, I'm gonna say 115 because that seems to be the go-to answer.
So in this case, I'm going to tell you that this slide will be right and wrong, but it is 332. So the students with temporary living situations is always in your 332. It's federal money. And this year the program number updated and changed itself from the packet. So its updated number is 290069. And so when you're looking at your budget, you will see a line within your budget that is aligned to students with temporary living situations. And depending on the number of students per your school is the amount of money that will be in there to spend on the students that are attached to your particular unit number.
Yeah, and I'm going to interject. What do you, for the trick question, what do you do if you don't get that funding? Like my school, if you don't get Title I, then what? How do you pay for STLS?
Can you use your own funds and then submit for reimbursement?
Well done. Yep. You use 115 and then you can get reimbursed up to a certain amount.
I have a question.
Go right
Can you
ahead.
guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Kai.
So for the 332, so the original number for STLS was the 11069 and it changed to the new number that's on the screen. In the program part, I don't even know if this makes sense or if I'm saying this right. In the account section in the program part, are there are any of those associated with the 332 and do any of these other numbers change year to year?
I think I might be a little confused at what you're asking. So the grant will stay the same. The grant number will stay the same. The program number.
So I understand that the funds come from 332. And then the program number, I'm assuming last year was 11069 and this year is 290069. Are there any other program numbers that change from year to year?
So the guide that I put together is not a do all be all that you have in your hands. It's just some of the numbers that are most often used, and sometimes they do change or they add new ones. And so there is a space on the CPS website under resources where you can go to get more information about specific funds. So generally speaking, when I put that together, it's those that were used most often, but there are definitely more than the packet that you have in front of you. So the packet is just to get you a basic understanding of budget and some of the terms and technologies, but I will definitely make sure that you get the resources to be able to find the new updated programs, accounts, etc. And so we're going to do one more of these questions, and then we are going to go to a panel discussion with Dr. Albany and Dr. King. So in May, you notice that you have $35,000 of unspent ESSA money left. Your LSC and school staff would like you to purchase a new marquee for your school. Is this an allowable expenditure? Why or why not?
Okay, I am going to Claudia Munoz.
I was about to Google what a marquee is. I don't know what it is, sorry.
Oh, marquee is the like the signage that's outside your school that when you drive by schools that might say this is Juarez High School, and it blinks and has, you know, updated information about your school on it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that information. I'm gonna say no, because then it's not an instructional thing. So just right.
That's definitely correct. It would be capital improvement, and something like that would be under 115 and or special monies that may have been raised specifically from your school to be able to purchase, and that would generally come from your internal accounts.
Chime in, Lisa, because I actually had that experience in my first year as principal.
Absolutely, go right ahead.
Thank you. So you also want to make sure that you reach out to the proper channels because it's over $25,000. There are several bids that you have to put in, at least 3. You have to get your network chief approval on that as well. So there's a lot. That's a pretty complicated situation.
How come no one called on Andre Hayes during this session that we have here? Because I see my friend on there, new principal friend.
What'd you say, Epi?
I said, how come no one called on you for an answer? I just saw your face pop up on my screen. So
because I'm soaking it all up. I'm trying to learn everything. I've been in this for 2 weeks, so that's why they were being nice to me.
we'll get you again, Andre. Don't worry.
I'm sure you will.
So now I'm going to turn it over to a little panel discussion with both. I refer to them as Mac and Lauren, but others might refer to them as Dr. Albany and Dr. King. And we are really going to talk about just candidly, and either one of you can answer or you can both answer. But when you first became principals, or even now, when you started preparing for an LSC meeting, what documents aligned to budget do you or did you bring to your LSC?
I can go first. I can tell you as a first year principal, one of the things that I do or after, maybe not my first year, I don't think I knew enough, but I recommend training your LSC to learn these fund your unit number, how to read a budget line. It also helps you to understand the budget lines. So I educated my LSC on 115. At the time, it was 115, 225, and 332, but the board has since merged the state funding with 115. that's why you have the 575 and 576. But educating your LSC helps them to understand why you're spending in certain ways. And I think that it helps them to build trust, but having them to understand the budget is key. So I definitely recommend bringing your student-based budgeting and your ESSA, because I think it builds trust. And so teaching them what those numbers mean, reading those numbers off, and talking about your expenditures in that way, I think is very helpful to your LSC, but also to you as you're learning all of those numbers, because like Lisa said, there are way more than this in this packet, but it does help you to understand those numbers as well.
Dr. Lauren, I have a quick question about that. So when do you train them? Do you train them during a regular meeting? Do you have a special meeting? Is it a closed meeting? When do you do that?
No, I train them in the actual LSC meetings, because it's also good for those that are attending, because I receive less pushback after I train my LSC and people that are listening, and they hate it when I would read off transferring from 301411115. They're like, oh my God, Principal King, can you stop? But I wanted to make sure that they were very clear that I was intentional about what I was doing, and I knew what I was doing, and I wanted them to be informed as well. So, but I would train everybody, and then I would, just like we're doing with this, what does this mean? I would ask them periodically, because I wanted them to understand, just too, because I might not always be here, and I wanted them to understand their budget.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mac. Lauren, what if I ask you the next question? At the start of the school year, how do you begin to discuss the budget as it aligns to your CIWP with your LSC?
Yeah, good question. I'm a little out of practice with this because of the pandemic and CIWPs have been stalled, but I mean, I think laying it out in just a format that says, this is our strategy, this is how we're supporting it with the funds. You have to do that anyway when you do your CIWP, which if you haven't done one, you will see you have to do it. Like in the system, it forces you. So just giving them access to that information and trying to make it crystal clear on, well, this is why we're using this money to buy an interventionist, or this is why we're using this money to buy these instructional materials. I think that just always helps to be transparent throughout the process.
Thanks.
Can I add to that, Lisa?
Absolutely.
I think for new principals, to make this very simple for you, I would suggest adding your CIWP priorities to your state of the school. And then it gives you an opportunity to talk about what supports are in place that align with your budget. So that again, your LSC can see that you're very intentional about your spending. Your spending is supporting your school improvement plan and laying it out that way, even if it's mostly on teachers. I know most of us, we're spending our funds, the majority of our budget on teachers, but you can say that if, so for example, if it's MTSS and you have a new interventionist, this is where the funds are going, supporting this priority, supporting this priority. So if you want to roll two things into one to make it easier, lay out your CIWP priorities in your state of the school, and then talk about those funds that are being spent to support those priorities.
Thanks. That was actually great advice. So to either of you or both of you, as a beginning principal and or AP, how did you go about learning about budget when you stepped into those roles?
Great question, because there really is not a lot of support, or there wasn't when I started, which was like 12 years ago. I think it's just practice and calling for help. And I know this is a question on here, but calling the student support center and asking, what about this? What about this? What about this? And the good thing about the budgeting system is there are checks and balances in place. Like it won't let you, you can mess it up, but it's pretty much set up to where you can't, it'll block you if you're doing too many illegal things. So it is helpful. Like, yes, it takes a lot longer in those first couple of years. Like now I just know, like Lisa, just know the number and can go. But I just call for help often.
Yeah, this is helpful because I agree with Lauren. When we started, there was very little help. We would partner with another principal. And then in the days of plenty, the Business Service Center, you could buy services and someone would come out like once every 2 weeks. And that really helped me because there are a lot of things that change, like practices and laws and restrictions. And so it kind of kept me abreast. And I think that's when I became very savvy, when I had that person from the Business Service Center that would sit down with me and make sure I was doing everything and that I understood everything. But we didn't have things like this. It was really just principals helping principals.
So I'm going to skip that next question. I'm going to come back to it at the end, but for the two of you, you both lead specific schools. One of you is at a magnet school and one of you is at a language arts center. And so what additional funds, if any, do you receive outside of the normal budget to, outside the normal district budget to support learning?
You want my secrets?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to share my secrets, Lisa. We don't get extra funds. We do get a couple extra positions to be able to run. We have a language program. So to run that program, we get positions for that, but no extra funding.
I don't necessarily receive extra funding. I'm just very good at being resourceful to get what I So I operate on what we need, and then I just go to different people in CPS and, you know, lay out my plan and what I need, or I'll go to the alderman and I'll get, you know, express what my community needs, or I will rent out places in my building, which is really helpful. So those are all different places that I get funding. But I think that if you need funding, learn to operate really well in the political frame so that you can access additional fundings, especially, you know, with budgets being cut short. You're going to have to be really savvy and creative about how you can get additional funding in your building.
Lauren, this question is specific to you, although Mac, you may have this as well. I do not have this at my school, but I know that I believe you have a friends of at your school or a PTO. So can you explain how either one of those entities are able to help you to raise funds to support instructional practices in your school building?
Yeah, so we do have a PTO that does our fundraising. They're a 501(c)(3). We don't raise a crazy amount of money. Like I know there's some schools in the city that raise like 6 figures. We are not those people, but we do raise some funds. And I think for us, I work really close. I go to every single PTO meeting because I want to be in that conversation about where that money's going. And we use that money to support basically, and this is just my philosophy, never any positions, because you can't sustain that. Like if you're gonna open a position, you're looking at $100,000 because it has to be benefits every single year, which is for us not going to happen. So for us, we look at what can they help fund that's going to impact every child. So in the past, it varies. You know, they might help with like lunch recess support. We did some building improvements that CPS wasn't going to pay for, that we like took down a wall, stuff like that. But I think it's really important to be involved, because otherwise friends of groups can do their own thing and push money to certain things that you may not agree with. So I think being involved in those conversations on the front end and as it goes along is really helpful.
Thanks. I have 2 last questions to wrap us up. Mac, you look like you're about to ready to add to that, were you?
We do have a Friends Up, but we operate pretty much the same as Lauren. We identify what it is the Friends Of are going to work on and raise funds for, and just go from there.
Mm-hmm. The last 2 questions. One, now I know both of you are in your 12th then or 11th year as principal. And so I guess today, when you run into a question or a concern about your budget, how do you get support? Who might you reach out to?
I still call the student support center, to be honest. Like they're always really helpful, and whoever your budget specialist is, I usually, I can shoot an email and get an answer pretty quickly. I've always found that to be helpful, or call Lisa, you know.
It's the same here. I just call it budget support system. BSC, Business Service Center.
Okay, so to wrap us up on our last question, it has nothing to do with the budget. What is one piece of advice that each of you would give to these amazing educators that joined us now, who are either a new principal, a resident principal, or an AP, as they move forward in their leadership roles?
Oh, I would say definitely make connections. And, you know, when you, like in a session like this, if you meet someone that's an expert in any area, make that connection and feel comfortable calling on that person, unless it's another new principal that might be a little overwhelmed. I think all principals are willing to support because it's so difficult for us to make connections and build those relationships just because of the nature of this work. But feel free to call people and see who's good at what, pay it forward, and then, you know, I think it just keeps everything going around. But I just think building relationships is the most important thing in this role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mac, obviously, on that. And now that we have GChat, it does make it a little easier to kind of ping someone like, hey, quick question, saw you mentioned this, would love to talk about it, which I use. But I think for me, the biggest piece of advice, and this is what someone, I think Liz Kirby, for those of you that remember that name, told me when I was first starting out, is that the work will always be there tomorrow. You can't run yourself into the ground in this job. I mean, you can, but you won't last. Pre-pandemic, and I'm going to get back to this year, I turn off my email at 4 o'clock off my phone. We're at 2:45 dismissal. Because really nothing is going to be an actual emergency unless CPS calls you, truly. The parent email that's mad at you, the teacher who needs XYZ, all of that can wait till tomorrow. And you don't need to be answering emails at 8 p.m. in order to do this job effectively. So I think you got to figure out where your boundaries are and stick with them. Like, I don't get here at super early because I know I'm not going to get anything done anyway. So those are some things that I put very clear boundaries in. I do not email staff at night. I schedule those emails to go out at 8 a.m. because I don't want them emailing me or parents emailing teachers at night too. So just little things that kind of help keep that separation of work and home life, I think helps you be a healthier leader and then ultimately a healthier school.